Hey everybody, welcome back to the 10-Minute Marvel Podcast, where we're going to be talking about a rumor for who might be playing Jean Grey in the MCU. I'm Petter, and I'm talking about here is a rumor. Jeff Schneider, the Schneider, who, in terms of a scooper, tends to be one of the most accurate out there. Mainly because he's not just throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks. He double checks. He wants to make sure that his sources are good. So when he provides scoops, that people, look at him as a reputable scooper. Obviously, you can see this new hot rumor is that Stranger Things' Sadie Sink is the front runner for playing X-Men Jean Grey. This is interesting. We're going to be talking about it this week on the 10 Minute Marvel podcast. I'll tell you when that comes out and where you can find it at the end of this video. But I wanted to kind of talk about it now since it is a breaking kind of rumor. This came out last night from the time when the video went up. And I have to say, I'm excited about this for a couple different reasons. First off, I think Sadie Sink is a very solid actress or actor. Actor is just the generic term. I need to remember to use that. But messaging with my co-host of the podcast, Greg, he may have a slightly different opinion. He might be thinking, okay, he'd prefer her to play another character in the X-Men. And I can see that character as well. We're going to cover that in detail on the podcast because I want him to be able to explain why he thinks that. But I do think she is a good option for Jean Grey. She has some of the look. The hair color works well for a Jean Grey. And like I said, the acting talent is solid as well. I'll be curious to see kind of what the role is for her in Stranger Things 5, which is coming out in 2025, to see, just based off of kind of where her character was left off, how she can act and how she works that role, because I think there's some unique challenges. And if she can do really well there, then I feel very confident with her as Jean Grey. The other thing I want to note about this, though, and I think this is probably the part of the conversation that I can go into more, because this is a rumored casting or frontrunner, I should say, for a role. So who knows? There's plenty of things that could happen that could just not work out schedule-wise. Marvel might have her as the number one, but it might not be a big enough gap that they're willing to maybe adjust some shooting schedule or something like that to make sure that she gets the role. I think the more interesting thing is kind of the age. And obviously actors play a range of ages. Generally, sometimes they play older. A lot of the times, especially for 20-somethings, they play younger. And Sadie Sink is not that old an actor. So I think it's interesting that they're looking to cast young here, because that tells me a couple different things about it. One, they probably have plans or hope to have plans for a particular group of X-Men for a while. That they want to have on the team a Jean Grey, probably a Wolverine, Cyclops, some of the staple characters that we know from the movies and from the animated shows. They want them to be the focal point for a considerable amount of time. I like that because it means we're not going to constantly be changing up teams now, or actors, or anything like that. Now, we might be splitting people off onto different teams, stuff like that, but the overarching group is going to be the same actors. And so I think that's a very strong move for us. It also tells me that we're probably not going to have an X-Men team that is necessarily pulled straight in from another universe. And that now, I shouldn't say that. That might happen at the end of Secret Wars, but I would tend to think that it's not going to be a very well established group at that point. Generally, some of your older X-Men are going to be your Jean Greys, your Cyclops, your Storm, Beast, characters like that. And if you're casting Sadie Sink as one of those main characters, that means they can't be super well established. They're going to be learning and growing as a team and as people, just because the actors playing them are younger. And I enjoy that element for it a lot. I guess not enjoy, wrong word there, but I appreciate that they're looking at it that way, because I think it could have been easy, and I think to do what I think they're doing with the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four are established heroes in another universe. They are set as heroes. And for them, I really like it because I want that idea of the first family. I want them to have the kids. I want it to feel very different and separate from the Fantastic Four stuff that has come out before. But with the X-Men, I mean, we've had the whole range of ages. The original Fox X-Men were older and continued to get older through the years. And, I mean, like Patrick Stewart was in a movie as Charles Xavier not that long ago, and he's old at this point. So, and then we also had First Class, where they were all younger. So I think that this decision, if it is the way they go, if this is going to be a casting that gets confirmed eventually, that I think it works well, at least from my perspective on it, because we get to spend time with the characters and do so more in order and kind of get to know them better. It's going to be more of a relaunch of something new. And I still want and I still hope that before we get an X-Men movie, we get some solo movies or characters, solo mutant characters popping up in Marvel stuff. I mean, Sabra in Captain America Brave New World is a mutant. In the Marvels and Miss Marvel is a mutant. I think technically there's another character referenced who is a mutant in the Black Widow movie, though that one is kind of tangential. I'm going to be curious to see if they start to drop in mutants in solo kind of one-off things in other movies or give them their own film, because I think, I mean, something like a Jean Grey film could be interesting. Or I've pitched the ideas of like Gambit and Rogue do a combined story there, or Xavier and Storm, and kind of do Storm's origin from the streets of Cairo in Egypt and build kind of the mutant universe that way, much like they did with the Avengers, but just maybe condense it down a little bit faster. But let me know your thoughts on this casting rumor down in the comment section below. Would you be interested in Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey for the X-Men. And if you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up. Really do appreciate everybody who is checking out the videos. And you can check out the other videos we have on the channel as well. News, rumors, comics, trading cards, other nerdy Marvel stuff as well. So, something for anyone who enjoys Marvel on the channel. And like I said I was going to tell you how to check out the podcast. Podcast comes out every Sunday. My co-host Greg will be talking about who he prefers Sadie Sink to be playing on that podcast, as well as then we'll kind of be discussing this rumor and other rumors around Marvel and the MCU. You can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and we appreciate everybody who is subscribing and who is checking out the videos. Hopefully, you're finding some content that you can really enjoy here. And then click on the podcast tab, or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, I'll see you next time.